Hello and good morning. Over the last 70 years, Australian society and knowledge in all aspects of academics have developed significantly. Subsequently, there have been radical amendments to Australia's educational syllabus. In this video, we will present to you our findings on the relevance of Erickson's theory to contemporary society, and consequently, whether the syllabus needs amending. This presentation will be split up into 5 parts. First, what is Erickson's theory? Then, a review of our research methods. Thirdly, how our research has indicated that the theory is still relevant. Fourth, how our research has indicated that the theory is now irrelevant. And fifth, our final judgment onto whether the syllabus needs amending.
Erik Erikson maintains that a human's personality develops over their entire life through the experience of the 8 stages of man, or 8 stages of psychosocial development. The theory suggests that in each stage of development, the personality experiences a crisis which results in a positive or negative outcome for personality development. Erikson argued that the completion of each of these stages will result in the acquisition of basic virtues that lead individuals to become more well-rounded human beings. Conversely, failure to complete one of the stages can decrease an individual's ability in successfully managing a future crisis.
In researching the relevance of Erickson's theory of psychological development to contemporary society, we utilize both primary and secondary methods. For our primary research, we utilized a focus group of 5 people from 2 different generations. Our participants were asked a series of questions on personality crises they may have experienced in their lives and how those experiences compared to Erickson's theory. Our secondary research consisted of numerous articles and essays published by qualified individuals of the psychology community, and a number of reports and statistical analysis of how Australian society has changed. These secondary resources will be detailed in the evaluation of Erickson's theory further on in the presentation. The qualitative and quantitative data we collected from our research was satisfactory in making an informed professional judgment on the relevance of Erickson's theory today.
Erik Erikson's theory of psychological development remains at least somewhat relatable to most people. As put by Professor David Schaefer, Erikson's theory emphasizes many of the social conflicts and personal dilemmas that people may remember are currently experiencing, are easy to anticipate, or can see affecting people they know. As a broad framework, Erikson's theory is accurate in its characterization of personality development. This is an opinion that was shared amongst much of our focus group, with one participant of middle age stating that, "I feel like everyone's found aspects of this theory that ring true for them." The general consensus within the focus group was that the theory provides a broad template which many of an individual's life experiences can fit into. This line of thinking is similar to Erikson, who provided the statement that he had nothing to offer except a way of looking at things. So this leads us to the question, if Erikson's theory is so broad, what makes his theory relevant to contemporary society? The fact that the process of human aging has remained largely unchanged over the last 70 years means that the categorization of age stages within Erikson's theory is still appropriate. Erikson's theory remains mostly relevant for the early stages of 1 to 5 that take place during childhood and adolescence. The accuracies of Erikson's theory can be seen in the value he places on early childhood. His insight into the importance of the relationship between a child and caregiver is something that is very much agreed upon in society in the 21st century. Daniel Cassot states that the parent-child relationship is the first social relationship. It teaches a child that he can communicate in order to get his needs met, which transfers to forming relationships later in life. This is a modern psychologist that reinforces the idea conveyed by Erikson's theory, therefore displaying its relevance. Erikson places importance on the completion of all stages of personality development to acquire the basic virtues required to handle a future crisis. This idea presented by Erikson was very much agreed on by the focus group. One participant made particular reference for the use of initiative, which is acquired in the 3rd stage, as being useful in future stages. This is an example of Erikson's relevance to the modern world. The final point of relevance of Erikson's theory to the modern world heavily involves the 5th stage of identity versus role confusion. Joanne Schultz states that Erickson noted the potentially strong impact of peer groups on the development of ego identity in adolescence. He noted that excessive association with fanatical groups in cults or obsessive identification with icons of popular culture could restrict the developing ego. This part of Erickson's theory is highly relevant in modern society, where the influence of the media and its effect on many adolescents' sense of self in regard to personal looks can be a problem in ego development. Erickson's theory is also relevant in its placing of importance on role confusion. Many members of our focus group ensured the importance of this stage in their lives. One participant stated that, "When I was at high school through to when university began, I was in the classic sense of figuring out my identity and how I fit in our society." While another participant stated, "It's kind of difficult thinking about what I want to do in the future." These quotes support the idea that adolescents go through a period of role confusion, where they decide what to do with their lives and how they fit into society. This, in a basic sense, proves Erickson's theory to be at least somewhat relevant to contemporary society.
Erik Erikson's theory, while relevant in a basic sense to modern society, lacks precision in factual analysis in his creation of a model that is ambiguous in its concepts. Erikson's theory struggles to remain relevant in a contemporary society that has experienced radical social and economic developments on a micro and macro level that has transformed the way humans think. Erikson's theory does not appropriately address the external pressures in the modern economy, while ignoring factors such as race and sex, all of which have major effects on personality development. Australia's economy has experienced radical changes, with changing workplace patterns now creating an existence where workers will have multiple careers which require extended training and higher education. Student participation rate in higher education within Australia has more than doubled from 1989, where it was 19%, to 2016, now 41%. As commented on by a participant within our focus group, it is no longer the case that you finish high school and that qualification is adequate to get you most jobs. University education is now one of the base level skills and qualifications required to enter the workforce. The extension of higher education greatly distorts and fundamentally changes Erikson's theory with role confusion being continued for 3 to 5 years of university education. Also, with the changing nature of Australians' work patterns, many employees will have multiple careers throughout their working life. The result of this is the suffering of role confusion throughout one's work life, which is a factor left unaddressed by Erikson. The reality of the modern world is a delay of future stages due to the extension of Erikson's fifth stage of identity versus role confusion that coincides with the increased education and job insecurity. Yet despite Erikson's observation of sex differences, his chart of life cycle stages remain unchanged. Identity continues to precede intimacy as male experiences continue to define his life cycle conception. This argument from Carol Gilligan critiques Erik Erikson's male-centric approach, determining that the theory may to be inaccurate due to its disregard for the experience of women. Psychologist Carol Tavros comments that was worrying. I wasn't having any of my crises in the right order when viewing Erikson's theory. The concern of its relevance to women was also raised during our focus group, when a participant states, "My mother was born in the 40s as a woman in Australia, so obviously I've never experienced that kind of sexism that she experienced." Erikson's theory is not entirely accurate as it takes a male-centric viewpoint on personality development, disregarding the female point of view. The final major problem involving Erikson's theory is its failure to recognize the difference in experience between race and culture. In a study of African Americans, Asians and biracial teenagers conducted by Bracy Bamak and Newman Taylor, significant differences were found between biracial and Asian adolescents, with the former reporting higher levels of self-esteem. This study shows that race can have an effect on personality development, or in this case, the development of self-esteem. Erikson does not address the effect of ethnic identity on personality, nor how societal pressures such as racism affects oneself. A focus group member commented that my dad was born in the 50s in Mumbai, and I don't have any connection with the ethnicity in my father, so I don't have that cultural upbringing that he did. An individual's cultural experience can have a great effect on their personality development, and this is something that remains unexplored in Erikson's theory, leading it to lack relevance in the modern world.
Our final recommendation to Nessa maintains that Erikson's theory should not be removed from the syllabus but be taught in the way for which it was designed. I have nothing to offer except a way of looking at things, was Erikson's philosophy behind this theory. Therefore it should be used by students as a way of viewing their own personality development. Just as Year 11 Society and Culture classes utilise the 8 values test to determine political ideology, and the MBTI 16 personalities test to show an individual's personality type, Erikson's theory can be used as a system of individual psychological analysis for students in identifying personal crisis within their lives. We have presented evidence proving as to why Erikson's theory is relevant in the basic sense that it provides a broad model to which an individual's personality development can be compared. While there are some points of contention as to the relevance and accuracy of the theory in addressing the pressures of class, race, and the modern economy, the basic essence of the theory is relatable. Just as the test, such as 8 values and 16 personalities, has its flaws, this theory maintains enough relevance to be enjoyable and a beneficial activity in classrooms. The theory is in no way precise and accurate enough to be considered as a factual summary of personality development, hence why its use in classrooms should be limited. The Forward Institute recommends that the syllabus be reconstructed in such a way as to accommodate an introductory class where Erik's theory is utilised by students to learn about the basics of psychological development theory. We recommend that students use Erikson's theory to reflect upon their own lives and developmental experiences.